Jeff Sica joins me this morning. These advancements seem very, very promising to me. How's it look to you?
Well, they do seem promising, Stuart, but to me, every time I see the results of anything I see anything come out of the FDA, I really have to question the accuracy of it.
You're such a skeptic.
Well, I'm a skeptic because you know what? The FDA has not been a great friend to consumers and to patients. I mean, there's been a lot of drugs we could remember throughout the years that were touted as being these miracle drugs, and then a few years later, all these side effects. Now, yes, I do think I'm very optimistic, especially with drugs that do something about the massive obesity problem we have in this country, which is the cause of a lot of the illnesses.
Sure.
So there is progress, and you know, let's be honest. There's a lot of good coming out of the medical industry, out of the pharmaceutical industry, but we have to be very suspect on everything that we see.
The skeptic, Jeff Sica. All right, here's another one for you. We're less than 2 weeks away from Black Friday. Mm-hmm. You know I read your stuff.
Yes.
Why do you even think that this is going to be the worst holiday season on record? Come on, Sica.
I know,
you're not
and Stuart,
serious.
you know what? I was so reluctant to talk about this because I want to be I want to be happy sometimes.
You're never happy.
Well, you know what? I don't know if you heard, but they made loan sharking legal because now the credit card companies are charging north of 25% interest on credit cards. So we've put on about $152 billion in credit card debt this year alone. The credit card companies are robbing people by charging this exorbitant interest, not just for people who carry a balance. This interest is for anybody who takes out a credit card, new credit card users, 25, 26%. If you carry a balance, you could be up at 30%. So when I look at holiday sales, when I look at the higher interest rates, when I look at the fact that people aren't able to pull out their home equity loan to cover expenses. When I look at how indebted people are and how wages have not grown. Now, I will say that what I've seen is what I would call apocalyptic buying, meaning that people are so concerned about the world that they're purchasing things to deal with the stress around them. That's why the consumer has stayed resilient, but that's going to break. There's going to come a point where there's not enough money saved, and then what we'll see this week with the retail earnings is we'll see people, whether they're spending on what they need or what they want. And I guarantee that they're going to be spending a lot more on what they need and refraining from buying what they want.
You're a barrel of laughs on a Monday morning, aren't you? Well, here's the next question. Is there anything that could be done to save this holiday season? No?
I think it's more of a psychological way to save the holiday season. I think people have to look at their spending habits. I have to look at my spending habits, and I think people have to realize that you know, they're being inundated with advertising, whether it's through social media, and they have to learn how to delay gratification until they can get their wages to a point where they could afford this. I mean, when your greatest stress in life is just being to afford day to day, you're not out buying expensive Christmas gifts.
Delayed gratification is not an American characteristic. You realize that, don't you?
No, and it's everybody's quick fix, even the stock market. I mean, so the way I look at it is that you know, the consumer is 70% of the economy is driven by the consumer. The consumer has been resilient and has been listening to the government and keeping up their spending.
But time's up.
The clock is run out. We all have to be smarter, and we have to get to a place where everybody's making more money, not spending as much, and interest rates come down.
Okay, Sica, you're going through the Lincoln Tunnel to New Jersey shortly,
Yes.
I do believe. Okay, we'll see you again, I'm sure.